So the vast majority of these problems, when it comes, you're saying measurements, you're saying foreshortening, a lot of these issues stem from the same overarching problem, wherein our vision, biologically speaking, is the sense that we most depend on for survival, right? That's a problem for us painters, right? Because every animal has a sense that is their primary sense for navigating through the world. So, for example, dogs or bears use their sense of smell much more than us, right? I'm sure there are animals that use their sense of hearing, like bats, right? To navigate the world, they use their sense of hearing. For us, the sense of vision is our most developed sense, and therefore the sense that we rely on to not bump into walls, right? So all our life we are used to seeing the world through a lens of, okay, where's the wall so I don't bump into it? How can I not trip over this shoe? Oh, that thing is small in my sense of vision. That means it's far away, right? We rely so heavily on this sense for survival that it's very difficult to actually turn off that part of the brain and really ask, what is it that I'm seeing? What is it that's in front of me, visually speaking? It's so difficult to disconnect the actual sensory experience, what you called an abstract experience of vision, from the utilitarian, survival-based, biologically determined way of seeing the world, which is, here's a table, here's a cup, here's a wall, don't bump into that wall, here's a car, be careful, right? And where we can see how it may have looked like had we been, for example, let's make a comparison to music, right? In music, we don't have that problem, right? And this is in part why, you know, many people throughout history have remarked again and again, and I can't disagree, that music is the ultimate art form. And I think part of the reason that music is the ultimate art form has less to do with music in itself and more to do with the advantage that music has of our sense of hearing being more detached from our survival requirements. So when you hear a piece of music, let's just say I just play one chord, like a C major, like da 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 da, you know, you have this interval, immediately you feel, oh, happy, uplifted, right? You hear a sound, you have an emotional response to the sound as it is, right? And you can change the major chord to a minor chord, you're immediately going to feel now it's going to be more melancholy, more sad. And these intervals of sounds they have an access to our emotional system in a way that is completely detached from what they mean, right? What does a C major chord mean? It doesn't mean anything. All it is a kind of emotional signal, and you can hear a song and have that kind of narrative capacity overlaid on top. We call that lyrics, right? And so the song can be about whatever you want, like a breakup song, a love song, and you could actually enjoy a song before you know the lyrics, right? This experience exists where you can say, wow, I've been listening to this song for years and I really love it because of its musicality, but only now I realize that this breakup song is not about a man and a woman, but it's about a dog or whatever. You can discover new things about the meaning in a way that in painting you could never say, oh, I've looked at this painting for years and I've always liked its color relationships, but I never noticed this was a painting of a lemon, right? This never happens because the narrative dimension of the visual world is always supreme. We first see, oh, it's a painting of a lemon, and then somebody like me would have to walk by and say, isn't it surprising that he used this grayish color for the shadow of a lemon? It's a color you wouldn't expect. And then people would say, oh, I didn't even really notice the color that he used because I was so captured by the narrative that I wasn't even able to see the shapes for what they are, the colors for what they are. It's so hard for us to see the shapes for what they are, the colors for what they are, because the narrative has such a grip on us, and it's really not our fault because this is how we've survived for millennia. So of course the body is just conditioned to do that, and we have to condition the body away from that. If we want to be painters, we have to look at in your example, foreshortened figure and to successfully make our mind almost forget that there is a thing called foreshortening, that there is a thing called figure, and instead say, okay, we have shapes in our field of vision. These shapes are really idiosyncratic and strange. If we really observe them, we're going to see that they are unique in themselves. They have properties in themselves that are somewhat detached from what they are supposed to represent. Likewise with color. And I think the most helpful example for how to condition your mind to access this way of seeing the world is, imagine what would have happened and how you would feel had you been blind all your life, never saw a thing, and then through some miracle of medicine, you were given the sense of sight. What would your first hour look like? Your first hour would look like complete, startling chaos, right? Before you learn to read your field of vision, you're just going to be bombarded with signals that are just totally frightening. You know, colors changing around you. You move your head, the entire field of vision changes. So, you know, as you move closer to some things, things get bigger in your field of vision. It's this chaotic reality that we only live through casually because we have learned to turn off the part of our mind that is actually sensitive to how weird it is to have a visual signal, visual input just continuously flood our consciousness, right? But if you imagine, what would it be like when you're sitting in this class looking at this foreshortened figure and you were blind until this very moment, and then boom, now you can see. Now try to just dissect those colors and those shapes for what they truly look like. If we were actually able to do that, nobody would ever have problems with foreshortening, right? Because the problems that we have with foreshortening is not a problem of seeing, it's a problem of being overly reliant on the part of our brain that refuses to let you see things as they are and continuously superimposing conceptual narrative on top of our field of vision, burying it and reducing its importance. For a painter, the importance of what the vision actually is supposed to be superior to what it depicts. And our obsession with depiction is a curse that we should learn to get beyond, to how would you say, to dispel this curse.